Hey guys, our guest today began his journey into magic at the young age of 9. He was inspired by old-time greats such as Harry Houdini and Harry Blackstone, and current greats David Blaine and David Copperfield. His style of magic is strong yet personable and always includes a touch of humor. He is a proud member of the International Brotherhood of Magicians and has been performing professionally for over 13 years. He now performs virtually all over the world. Welcome to the show, Master of the Unexpected, Doug Roy.
Thank you, Mike. Glad to be here.
Man, I look forward to doing every single interview I've ever had. I have over 70 interviews out, and I can tell you, I love the element of surprise because I can talk to someone pre-interview. Sometimes I do that. If it's someone I've never met before, like yourself, we kind of did a pre-interview a couple of weeks ago, and you kind of get to know someone, but the conversations always end up going somewhere I never expect. And I just love the idea of getting to know someone, having the audience engage and get to know you. But you literally are my first guest where I have no idea what you're about to do, including a few magic tricks for us. I'm super excited to have you on the show, and thank you for joining us.
Of course. Looking forward to it.
Master of the unexpected. I don't know what you have up your sleeve, no pun intended. But guys, you can check Doug Roy. You can check him out at DougRoyMagic.com. Very simple, DougRoyMagic.com. And on YouTube, he does have a few highlight videos there as well. I was checking this out while I was preparing for the interview. So excited to have you on the show right now. What I'd like to do is dive in a little bit more into your story.
Sure.
And then I'm going to have you do a couple tricks for us, okay? But, you have this mind-blowing magic show. We were talking a little bit about this before we started recording on our first call. It's called Choices, and it really is intriguing, and it was something I wanted to know a little bit more about personally, and I know our audience would love it. It's more of an adult show, right? It's not
correct.
You do some
kids
level
would be
stuff.
Freaking out, and they may not sleep that night.
But I have, what's interesting about it is you claim it discovers whether someone is easily influenced by others or external situations. Can you explain more about the show Choices?
Yeah, so basically the premise is that I'm, and my name is, like I said, the Master of the Unexpected. So I go into that show basically explaining that the choices that people will be making during the show will seem as if they were free choices, totally independent, their own choices. But my purpose is to show during the show that actually I influenced all those choices. So, I tell people I go into their left brain and influence their choices, and one thing they can expect is the unexpected. So that's my choices show.
Right, it's kind of like a pick a number type deal or pick a card, but the magician is kind of leading in a sense. Almost like when you ask a question, you know the answer you want to hear, you can position it in a certain way.
Correct, kind of channel in the right way.
Women are really good at that too, I noticed. They can kind of get guys to do certain thing, throw out the garbage based on how they
exactly. Yeah.
But there has to be a moment, I'd love to hear this, where you had that tug at your heart. Was it a show you saw or a magic trick that's a friend did or a family member? How did you get into magic and decide this is something you wanted to pursue?
Well, when I was 9, I saw a magician. I'd never seen one before, and I saw one in person. It wasn't TV. And I still remember the moment, the place, the location, the feeling, and I was floored. I'm like, this is how I want to learn. So I went to, I was 9 years old, went to my elementary school library, the small library that was at the school, and I found that the library had 3 books of magic. So I checked them out, read all 3 of them. And then a few days later, I went to the public library, and I was just like, my mind was blown because it had like 10 books of magic. And so I went through those. I still remember the books, the look. But it was just like, and I had no mentor. So it was like just kind of self-learning, like, how do I do this, and fiddled with it. But just stayed a hobby for a long time.
Were those books actually magic trick books or just like the history of Houdini and magic and that?
No, actual trick books.
Oh, that's interesting. That's cool.
At the public library, they had a couple biographies of Harry Houdini and so forth, but yeah, I was into the how. Yeah,
and I'm not trying to date you, and if anyone's listening, they might not know, but we did mention you started this at 9. You've been doing this professionally 13 years. You know, so you're in your mid 20s, right? So no,
Give or take 2 years.
Yeah, a couple of years. No, but so you know what I'm trying to get at here is you had this moment and you've been following the history, but at the time it was going to the library. It's not like you had YouTube videos where you could hop on and learn a trick or being intrigued by even. I remember as a youngster, there was, you know, that masked guy. I don't know if he actually has a character name or anything, but
the masked magician.
That's it. Just a masked magician. Simple as that. Yeah. And there was a couple series with him doing stuff on TV and Copperfield. And then David Blaine kind of broke through. I'm 35. So this wasn't that long ago, maybe a decade and a half ago, where David Blaine starts to get on national TV. And I love the fact that he was just doing street stuff, which a lot of guys do. He's not the only one, but he took this element into the street. And I know you do that as well, right? So can you talk a little bit about, you know, how you get in there, and you don't need a big stage is my point in all of this to have this huge element of magic and just awe where your audience is engaged with you. Can you talk about how you really work a crowd if it's just in a moment, spur of the moment thing on the street, and how you prepare for that moment?
I love street magic. It's intimate. I love just the whole strangers, just random moments.
Yeah.
And that's how I got started in the mentalism, because going back to you know, how I got started, there were no videos. There were no, you know, all I had was a book, and I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have a professional magician down the street. So I never got into the card magic, didn't want to do sleights. So when I really dove into the adult magic and so forth, I started with the mentalism, and David Blaine's my idol. So I started doing street magic and bars, clubs. I figure if I mess up in front of a drunk, no big deal. But it's crowd management. They're actually harder because they grab things. They grab your cards and throw them on the floor and like, okay. But I love the surprise factor, walking up and like, hey, want to see something interesting? And they're like, yeah. And they're kind of like, who are you, right? Yeah. And then the first level is like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. Dude, who are you?
Right. So is that when you're like in your happy place, if you will, where you just that feeling where you can see people trying to figure out what the heck you just did, and you know they have no idea, and it just gives you that element of like you're bringing happiness to people. Do you have that? Is that what drives you?
Oh, absolutely. And and magic is nostalgic. It brings you back when you were a child, and just that wonderment, that awe that we just seem to forget as we go on with life and have stress and just all the things of life. And so it brings us back to that moment where everything is magic when we were a kid. And I always know when I hit that moment with someone, because it's like they're speechless and there's no words. They just like reach out and give you a hug. Yeah. Guys, give me a hug. I'm like, oh, thank you. Some people say, I don't want to know how. And other people say, I want to know how. I'm like, it's just magic. Yeah. And, it's just, so you get different reactions, but some people literally run and scream and run away.
Yeah. Yeah. They're freaked out. They don't know what just happened. Podcasting is a great way to engage with your audience and stay consistently relevant. The only problem is you don't have the time or desire to produce your own show. You simply want it done for you. And that's where Social Chameleon comes in. All you need to do is press record and upload the files. We'll handle the rest. From planning, production, post-production, distribution, and digital marketing, we have you covered. We realize that times are tough and funds are tight, and Social Chameleon believes in building supportive business relationships. By clicking on the link in this promo, we'll provide you 7 free podcasting tips to get started, as well as a free 30-minute online consultation. This is the perfect opportunity for entrepreneurs, keynote speakers, industry experts, influencers, and anybody who has a personal brand. With Social Chameleon, we help you build a brand that is out of this world. We're ready and waiting, so what are you waiting for? Click on the link to get started today. I do want to share something with both you and the audience. Since I was a youngster, I always loved magic. I learned a few tricks. I have a shoebox under my bed still. I always kept it. Every time I moved, it comes with me. And it has some old tricks that I acquired over the years. I have a couple David Blaine tricks I've learned, Some things are just like typed up, written. Just remember the order to how to do the trick. I used to go on vacation every summer. 3 years in a row, I went to Myrtle Beach, and there's Broadway at the beach, this little magic shop, but you can get some really cool stuff there. Like if you actually were aspiring as a magician, some things you would really use. The quality of the tricks you can get was really strong. And so I just want you to know that this interview is really cool for me because I always had this love for magic. Again, I love David Blaine. I know you do as well. And it's what I love about it is what you just said, like just captivating an audience and bringing them joy, the having that wonderment, and but it's fun. It's taking you away from the negativity on the news and the stresses of someone's in school or work or family. Magic is just it's like music, man. It's an art, and a great magician is like a band. It's just, they just know how to feed off the crowd, deliver something a little different each time. You got to play the song that, they all want to hear Freebird, right? But but when you do it for someone, you do it, maybe you tailor it to your audience. And I've seen you in, not in person yet, but I've seen you do some virtual tricks. I've seen what you got going on YouTube. And I know you're great on the stage and you're great on the street. But guess what? Pandemic hits about a year ago as we record this in March of 2021. So we're about a year since we got that information that we're doing a 2-week quarantine. The whole country shuts down. And everyone thought it was going to be a 2-week situation. I don't want to say everyone, but some people were hoping for that. I think we all were. And then all of a sudden businesses started closing and bands stopped getting gigs. And public speakers and keynotes all got put on hold. And then eventually people started to implement virtual. I know you and I have been doing virtual meetings for business for years, a few years at least. But you decided, you know what, I'm not going to put this thing on hold. I love doing this. And you figured out a way, just like a magician has to figure out a way mid-trick. If something's not going right, you got to still deliver a punch. And you did that with your business. And I want to let everybody know that Doug didn't a year ago turtle up and say, I'm just going to put my magic on hold. He created an entire new show. He gets booked all around the world. Talk about how you did that and how that's going today.
Yeah, it was, I hit this dilemma like anyone else, any business owner. I had heard about this wave, the tsunami coming and magicians being affected, and then finally hit me. I had wedding gigs, in-person wedding gigs, canceled one after another, other corporate, local gigs. And I was like, what do I do? And I had actually thought about a year ago last year, of maybe doing some kind of virtual show. But I just kind of put it on hold. And my daughter, when I told her about my cancellations, she was like, have you thought of doing anything virtually? And the light just went on like, okay, now I need to get back to that idea.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't sure, how it would translate. So I went through my repertoire, and I was surprised that a lot I thought could actually translate over. Because I'm a mentalist, I can interact with people. It doesn't matter. I can send a text prediction to someone. I can send an email to someone, in Israel in real time during a show. And so I put on a show, all ages, families, kids, adults. I put it out there locally, the local community here in Salt Lake. And I ended up getting probably 6 shows a day for 3 days. I didn't even go outside until 10 o'clock at night. Then I decided after walking 2 miles, I need to go 2 more miles. Literally, I walked just to get some fresh air at the end of the day, because I didn't even see that there was a world out there.
Yeah.
And so the reactions, though, from those shows, kids, adults told me very clearly that this translates.
It works.
So I decided not to just, walk around this hurdle. I just blew it up with dynamite.
I mean, how cool is that? You got street magic, and there's this cool thing. I still love that, the being in person, and you're going to still go back to that as you can, as people are more comfortable with it. Magic's very personal. You're up close. They want to see what card you're holding and everything else. But this is really cool, where you can literally dive into people's phones, right? I mean, the show is right here. The show, now everyone streams, myself included, TV. We don't typically watch what is forced on TV. We put what we want on, and that can be a magic show for the family. Birthday parties, you name it. I know you're doing something cool we're going to get to in a little bit, gender reveal. But now you piqued all of our interest. You talked about how you do virtual shows. It's a hit, literally going well. I see you got something behind you that says, I guess you have no idea what's inside this pouch. So I'm going to ask you about that. And I don't know if that ties into this, and this wasn't planned or anything, but why don't you show us your first trick?
Okay.
We're going to the deck of cards.
That's right. Now, again, I'm not a card person, but I use cards for the mentalism. I do it as a tool. Mm-hmm. So, Mike, would you say you're easily influenced?
I actually am. I am pretty easily influenced.
We'll show the audience that you are true with that evaluation, that you are easily influenced. So, in a moment, Mike, you're going to make a series of choices which will lead to one playing card in this deck. And I already know the exact card you're going to end up to because I'm going to influence all of those choices. As I said, I tap into the left brain. So let's do this. So Mike, give me a color, red or black, because cards are red or black. So which color, red or black, do you choose?
I'm going black.
Oh, nice. This is going to work out really well, Mike. Okay, so you have clubs or spades, and as far as the black cards, clubs or spades. So would you say yourself a lucky person, the clubs with fortune, or spades kind of has a little dark side element to it? Which of those two suits are coming into your mind right now?
Spades.
Spades. It's an honest Mike. Good job. Okay, this is working out. So then you have values. On the number side, you have 2 through 10. On the face card, you have Jack, Queen, King, and an ace. So which of those two groups, the numbers or the face cards, is coming into your mind right now?
Numbers.
Mike, you're trying to make it harder on me because there's more numbers than face cards. That's okay. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So look into the camera. Listen to my voice as I count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Which of those values is coming into your mind right now?
Okay, so you want me to basically tell you the card then?
Wait, you think I'm a mentalist? No. Yeah, let the audience know what card, because I'm already committed, which I'll show you. Doesn't matter. Okay,
I'm going 7.
7. So 7 of spades is your card.
Yeah.
Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, I was going to influence all your choices. Right. You may think that those were free, but I actually influenced them, and now it's time to prove it. Okay. So 7 of spades, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And there is one card the other way around.
Yep.
Mike, you are easily influenced.
Stop it. That's amazing.
Shout out for Mike. Good job.
Oh, guys, I love it. 1 for 1. Doug Roy. Check him out, DougRoyMagic.com. You guys got to book him at your corporate event, your family party. That was cool, man. I thought you were just doing a little comedy there for a minute. You're like, red or black, pick a number, 7, suit. And then I told you the card. I'm like, okay. So how good is he so far? I just told him, I gave him all the answers. He got 52 cards in the deck. One's reversed, and it's my card. That is amazing.
Thank you.
I love that, man. Here's what I want to do. I noticed in studying what you've been up to, you have a real passion for this. This is not like, you're just kind of kicking it and
I love it.
Fun. So you have a connection, a passion. There's a quote on the Gender Reveal website you have that says, life itself is magic. And it's right next to a cute, is it a boy? Is it a girl? Really, really cool. I love the marketing. Great concept. What made you get into the Gender Reveal side of things? I mean, it's so, it's such a fun event, obviously. So I can see that, but I want to know what made you kind of get into it. And can you tell us, not necessarily tell us the tricks, how to do the tricks, but what are some of the cool ways that you've actually done Gender Reveal?
Well, Gender Reveal, it's still a pretty big thing, but a couple years ago it was like all over the place. And I'm like, it's either cutting the cake or popping the balloon and the pink confetti, the blue confetti. I'm like, cake, balloon, different ways. How many ways can you cut a cake? How many ways can you pop a balloon? I'm like, okay, there's got to be a better way. So I'm like, why don't I just reveal it through magic? And I did a private gig, and I let the word out that I do gender reveal. So this young couple, mid-20s, come to me and says, we're expecting. Can you tell us what we're having? I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not a doctor. Yeah. I get the information, and then I reveal it through magic. So no one knows how I'm going to reveal it. And it's like a double hit. One is the magic, like, whoa, and then like, wait a minute, it's a boy or it's a girl.
Yeah,
so it's like,
yeah, that's cool.
It's a double.
Yeah. So what are some of the ways? So have you actually done something where you cut the cake and it changes color? Or what kind of tricks do you do? I'm just curious on what to expect. And if someone's listening to this, I do want them to go to your website and they can book you virtually, correct? To do
Yes,
that
absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like what can someone expect, or do you want to kind of keep that?
I have a couple of ways, 2 or 3 ways, because if I do local shows and I reveal it one way, and they have friends or family and they like, oh, I want to do it for us too. And if they saw the one reveal, I don't want to have it the exact same reveal, right?
Sure.
So I mix it up a little bit.
Okay. Can you just give us one example of something you've done then?
Yeah, one is where they all turn to a website and they choose. I have all the guests. They flip. There's a choice of boy or girl.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they put their phones down, and then I have the expecting couple snap their fingers over the phones, and there's a very surprise ending where no matter what they chose, the people like freak out. That's one. And then there's one I don't really want to go into details. It's the one I love the most, but it's a double surprise.
Yeah, I noticed as I was doing research on it, I was trying to figure out, like, because you have a great promo that shows the excitement and the energy and the people just loving what's going on, but you don't really see what's going on. And I'm like, damn, he's really, I gotta book him. I gotta get him on the show to see what he's up to over here. And now, and you've done that already. We're gonna have you do another trick in a second.
Life is magic, so why not put magic to the whole life of creating life, right? It's a miracle.
Yeah. It is really cool. You're making a lot of people, you're creating happy moments, which we need more people in the world like Doug out here using his talents. Hey, if you're not a magician, maybe that's not your thing. Ask yourself, what can you be doing using your talents to make people smile the way Doug does through his magic? My goal is to do that through this show, is to inspire people to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams, and
Amen.
Hear people like Doug.
Amen.
And so we're going to tie this right to that point. Is magic is very much mental, not only for the audience to be kind of tuned in to what you're doing, but you have to, like anything, practice. I know in the handful of tricks I learned, the only time it ever really works where people are amazed is when you've practiced it hours, because the slightest change in how you do something or who you're looking at, or it's a lot of deception. I'm not trying to give anything away, but a great magician has you looking somewhere and not looking somewhere intentionally. Let's just be honest about that. And the greatest of the greats is do it so smoothly you don't even know they're doing it, just like anybody, right? It's when you're so good at something, it's so naturally flowing. Talk to our youngsters in the audience, boys and girls out there. Maybe they're not 9, but maybe they have kids that are 9, or maybe they're 15 and they're watching this on YouTube and they're thinking, I really want to do this. Maybe they typed in magic and they see this on YouTube right now. What would you tell them as far as what you really need to practice to get your mindset right to be a strong magician? Like what does it take to get really good at this?
One, you need to really want to, and it takes work, but the reward is huge. And so there's books out there, there's YouTube videos, and you just got to get out of your comfort zone, get out of your shell, and really try it.
Mm-hmm.
But practice. I taught a class for kids at one of the local rec centers, and I said, before you perform this trick, practice 100 times. I had them put their arms to the square and give an oath. I will practice 100 times. So parents come pick them up, right? This one little kid runs over to his mom. Mom, let me show you a quick trick we learned. And I tell people, do you think his mom was blown away? No, because he didn't practice. So it can be done. We can be vehicles to add some magic, and it's worth doing. Just use the tools, practice, and exactly.
Can you share a moment that just sticks out right now as I say this? Your favorite moment, just something you did that just went so well, you go, this is it. This is why I put the hours in. Just a miraculous, like you're almost amazed it went as well as it did. Maybe a highlight, right? I know as a musician playing the drums, I have moments that I always flash back in my head of these great concerts I got to play in and be a part of. It was just so much fun. Talk about your favorite moment, and then something that just was maybe a train wreck where you were waiting for a hit. And I'll tell you a funny story about a trick I did in front of an audience that I botched it. So your favorite moment and maybe the biggest train wreck that you had. And I think it'd be cool to kind of to see that, to hear about it.
Well, I'll tell you one of my favorites. It's the stars lined up. That's all I can say. I did a kids show, and I don't do many of those these days, but it's just a crazy fun moment. I'm doing a Halloween show. Kids, ages 4 to 8 are in these costumes coming into the doors. They come into the home, and this little kid walks into the door. He's probably 7 years old, wearing a banana costume. And I have a banana trick that requires 2 volunteers. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. This is perfect.
Unintentional assistant just walked in the door.
Yeah. And so that was one of my favorites. But again, going back to when someone hugs me, there's no words, and that's the joy. That's the joy. I've had people just like, thank me. And it was, those are fun moments.
Yeah, I'm sure like when someone hires you to do something, they're like, they really just want to have a fun event for their business or whatever. And then you like over deliver on it. And it's just that feeling of, wow, like that was cool, man. We really, really appreciate you doing that. What about something that didn't go so smoothly? Anything you care to share?
Recently, actually. So, I was doing some nighttime club or hopping. I thought the weather actually turned out okay the other night. And I do a trick I'll do a presentation where I kind of feel their pulse. I love doing it live. I said, stop me, take a card, and it's mixed up. I'm like, okay, the color, I think of the card, and I was off, off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me try it again. And I felt bad because I think they were trying to sneak into the bar. She said it was her 18th or 21st birthday or something. So her and a few friends. And I felt bad because I wanted to give a special moment it's her birthday, right? Big celebration night. So then I said, here, let me show you something else. And it worked. So I was just like, and it really hurts when things don't. And sometimes you say, well, one of the things people say you could say is like, oh, it didn't work that way at the magic shop or something corny. But I just like, oh, I'm not feeling it. I don't know. Maybe it's the atmosphere. So I just kind of, there's too much music. It's too loud. I can't,
Yeah. Well, what you're doing, sure. It's like, and that happens too. Again, playing a song and just whatever. I remember one time we had the 3 hits at the end of the song. I mean, where I'm crashing on the cymbal, ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-boom, right? And I just forgot to do it. Like I was thinking about the next song, or I was just enjoying, we just crushed the song we played, and it kind of like drops out. And then we all come in and hit 3 times. We practiced it. I knew it was coming. And I was just in La La Land thinking about whatever. And the guitarist comes over to me and does it. And I was like, sticks were down because I was thinking about the next song. And he's looking at me like, well, how do you not get the 3 hits? That's your job, man. Like, we practiced that on Thursday. We're at that, and it's just like, how do you redeem yourself? So then the next song I had to be, perfect on, right? You just got to up your game. But athletes do it the same thing. Some players have struck out the entire game in baseball, and they're major league athletes that are the best of the best in the world, and they strike out sometimes. So it's how you handled it like a professional. And you said, you know what, something with the energy, and that's it too. The energy is not right. People are always trying to stump the magician too. Is that a hurdle to overcome? How do you deal with that? Like
burning. You can see when someone like watch really closely your hands, and it's called burning in the magic world. And what's happening. And I do a trick where on stage, where in person, where they think they have me, and then they're like, oh, you tricked me. And then it flips on them and it goes from one extreme to the other. So I always try to, like, to their friends, watch this now, type of thing.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And that's just like, really, like, this guy's doing something fun for you. And I know I'm trying to, as a fan of magic and as like a very, very light magician, let's just call it that. Someone who I do, like I said, a handful of tricks. enjoy the moment. I'm not trying to stump you or like trying to one up you or, oh, I know how you do it. It's funny. My 6-year-old daughter, I'm getting her into magic now, and I've taught her how to do a trick or two. And, and she is so funny. I taught her how to do 1 or 2 tricks, and now she knows that, oh, things get prepared or whatever, right? Or you got to practice them. And so then I have her try a couple things. And then when it's my turn to do it, she shouts out, I know how he did it. He did this, he did that. I go, that's, as my assistant, you're not supposed to tell everybody what's going on. Oh, but I know how you did it. I'm like, sweetheart, that's the whole point. You and I are supposed to be in on this thing together. You're supposed to help me out. And then when she does it, she did something. She grabbed a banana. She goes, I'm going to do a magic trick, and I'm going to make the stem of the banana on this side. And she literally just like turns it quick with her hand. And I'm like, ooh, amazing, you know, like pretending that it was miraculous. And then I do something. No, I saw it, how you did it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, so funny. But yeah, so she's burning then. She's trying to burn me, right? Funny. I get it. I mean, you have to be on your game. You got to be able to overcome that. Anyone who's listening to this, you can have that big sales meeting that you just, for some reason, it's not clicking, and you got to figure out a way through it. And the best of the best can pick themselves up after just getting burned and kind of shake it off and say, hey, that didn't work out. Check this out. And then you got to hit them. You hit them with something really cool. Really appreciate you sharing that and being real about it. Who would you say is your biggest influence that inspired you to do magic professionally? It doesn't have to be a magician. It could be someone in family. Or was there someone that you just kind of really feel pulled you up to do this?
I love David Blaine, the whole keeping it real, street magic, intimate. I love that. I saw David Copperfield when I was a teenager in Vegas. A friend of my dad's gave us a couple of tickets, and he gave my dad $100 bill and said, give this to the door guy. So gave to the door guy, and he put his front row center. And I'll never forget it. I'm standing there, David Copperfield, he's on the front stage taking his bow, and I could see the alligator leather shoes like 3 feet in front of me. I stood up, reached out my hand, and he reached down and shook my hand. I'll never forget.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's so cool. I'm not too familiar with him. I know Copperfield's one of the biggest names to ever do it. Does he still perform?
Yeah, he still performs.
Still doing big stuff. Okay.
I don't know how I haven't followed his show as far as the COVID and his Vegas shows, but
I remember like he was it like early 90s. So it was like you go see Copperfield, you go to Vegas to go see him. But then a lot of the more like as the internet kind of broke, it became more of this like the personal magic thing kind of became cooler. I guess the big show. Yeah. But does David Copperfield also do the smaller gigs and stuff?
I don't think so. I think it's all big stage. And I remember a lecture I saw here in Salt Lake. A magician came, Paul Green from LA. He did a lecture, and he had looked like a makeup box, silver makeup box. He held up the makeup box, said, this is my show. I make a good 6-figure income from this little box. He says it drives the illusionist, the stage guys crazy because there's no storage, there's no big boxes, and that's when the light went on. So I have a little travel bag. So I like
you know, like literally, you're like that masked magician. It's cool for a couple minutes, but I don't know. I mean, people are going behind these big built doors, and I feel like there's so much more room for a setup there than someone that you just made my card the 7 of spades, but I literally picked it and it was the only card in the box. That kind of stuff to me is cooler than sawing a woman in half when I know there could be twins or whatever, or she could be in the floor. And you kind of know, like, the bigger it is, I feel like the bigger the setup is and the more intimate trick. One, I just love that David Blaine does. It was like something crazy where like he's doing a trick in the middle of the street, and he someone lights the card on fire, and he like rubs it on his arm, and like the number of the card is like burnt on his arm. Like, how do you prepare that, you know? Or someone's name, they would write their name in their handwriting on a card, and he's done that, and it's like in their handwriting prepared. How would he know their handwriting? Just some of the coolest things I've seen that don't take the big stage. I'm not saying I don't enjoy a huge magic show. That would be fun to go to and attend, but I think I'm more amazed by the in-person quick little setup. Like, how did he just pull that off right now in the moment? Speaking of that, let's see another one. You got another trick up your sleeve for us?
Sure. Now, you've heard the term woman's intuition, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They seem to own the block on this whole intuition thing, but I think guys have a gut feeling, right, Mike? I mean, it's just a different term. So
we're supposed to listen to our gut. I think it's 80.
Yeah.
It's so right 86% of the time, right?
In this wallet, I have one playing card stuck in an envelope. Just one playing card. We're going to use your intuition, Mike, to determine what playing card it is in, okay?
Okay.
So imagine you're holding a deck of cards in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You have face cards, or picture cards, number cards. Which of those two groups, face or picture of the number cards, do you want to take out? The number cards or the picture cards?
I'm going to take the picture cards out.
Okay, so you're leaving the numbers. So you have the picture cards. You have black or red. Which of those two colors do you want to put back in the box together and keep, the black or the red picture cards?
I'm going to keep the red picture cards.
Okay, so the black's way. So in the picture cards, you have the red, you have the hearts or the diamonds. So which of those two groups do you want to keep, and then which one do you want to?
Let's keep the hearts.
The heart picture cards.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what you felt in your gut, right? Heart picture. So you have the Jack of Hearts, the Queen of Hearts, or the King of Hearts. Which of those three cards is coming into your mind right now?
King of Hearts was actually the card I was thinking of initially. King of Hearts.
King of Hearts. This is crazy.
And it's zippered, guys. It's zippered and it's in a pouch. And if you're listening to this, oh my gosh, he just pulls an envelope out of his, basically a wallet with the King of Hearts in it. Unbelievable. Good job, Mike.
You got it. You got it.
It's not just turning one around in the deck quick. It's prepared, zippered in a pouch.
One card,
unbelievable.
One envelope.
Can you tell us more about the pouch behind you quick as well? It says again, I guess you have no idea what's inside.
That's my big finale for my Zoom show. Okay.
So if someone wants to see what's in there, they can hire you for the big Zoom show, and that's the setup for it.
Yeah.
That was cool, man. That is so cool. Making people happy, man, bringing joy to me. And speaking of happy, that's where we met, the Happy Neighborhood Project. It's a networking group. I saw that you mentioned on your website that you're a proud member of that. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And this show is designed for business owners, entrepreneurs, aspiring business people. So I feel there's a lot of people that would benefit from that group. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I love Happy Neighborhood. One, the name itself, happiness. You can't go wrong there. And Edwin, the chief happiness officer, it's great.
Yeah, Edwin's a great guy. I saw him do a TEDx talk, and it was really inspiring.
It brought me to tears. And that's what, like, okay, dude, take my money. I want to become an official member of Happy Neighborhood because of what he's trying to do for the world and bring happiness. And he teaches happiness is a skill. You can actually choose to be happy, which I really love. Mm-hmm. And the great is, lots of networking events. They've been growing like crazy. I think they have far over 50 events every week. All kinds of major cities all over the U.S. and internationally.
And it's crushing because it's virtual. I mean, it's virtual. No reason to not even jump in. And then they do the breakout room thing. I know a lot of people who've done online networking now, maybe a little bit fatigued by it from the pandemic of just doing these over and over. But I met you through there, and I met a handful of other people. That's how I look at it, Doug, is like, if I'm going to spend an hour somewhere, it's not about meeting 1,200 people right now, because that's literally impossible to have 1,200 meaningful conversations in an hour. But if I can get into a couple breakout sessions and find someone that intrigues me and I can bring them value, they can bring me value. Well, guess what? So that hour a couple months ago leads to this interview right now that we're recording. Awesome. You did a couple tricks. And actually, I think you reached back out to me, which I greatly appreciate, because I just was overwhelmed with like so many different connections going. I think did you not say, hey, Mike,
I said, let's do one-on-one. I was intrigued by what you said, your program. I would love to, be part of what you do and learn more about you. And that's why I love the breakouts. It's actually well organized. I have 2 breakout rooms per the hour meeting, very structured. You know exactly when the breakouts ending and beginning. And sometimes I don't have a full hour, so I know when the next breakout is for the next half hour, and I can do a half hour meeting.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Here's the deal. We want to know a little bit more about you too. And your magic is awesome. We all know how we can access that now at DougRoyMagic.com. And if we want to book you, and we saw 2 incredible tricks so far. When you're not mind bending us with your magic, right? What kind of stuff do you enjoy doing? Just hanging out with the family, and tell us more about you.
Yeah, so remarried. My wife has 4 kids. I have 4, so we call ourselves Brady Bunch Plus.
Sounds like an app.
we outdo them by 2 people.
That's awesome.
And it's been great. So we've gone on road trips. They're all married and older now, and we have a couple that are still younger. One's still living at the house, but actually she's on a LDS church mission in Tennessee. She'll be back in 3 months after serving for 18 months. Love tennis, love activities, doing the treadmill. I actually bought a rowing machine, which should be arriving this week. So I'm excited about that. Awesome. I like the whole element of wellness.
You got to keep mentally sharp, physically sharp, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So so I'm trying to keep the weight in management, and I have siblings that maybe didn't quite, it's just, so I try to stay in shape. I think health is really important. I'm a wellness guy. I've done a crazy thing over the last 3 weeks, and so far 3 weeks, not missing a day. I created or put together a raw V8 drink. I throw a bunch of vegetables in and some water in a blender, blend it up, and I just chug it 20 seconds down.
That's awesome. But man, so you have 4 of your own, 4 with your wife, so 8 kids total, and they're older. So there's never a dull moment. I mean, between the birthdays alone, every month has either an actual holiday or a birthday. You got 8 of them, so there plus the 2 of you. That's basically an average of 1 a month. Every 3 weeks, you got a new celebration.
And I got 3 grandkids, and
3
actually
grandkids.
2 boys. The 4 and 6-year-old are more. The 4-year-old is taking on to magic. So
there you go. That's
finally
cool.
I missed a generation. Didn't happen with my kids, but I got a grandson. That's
maybe I kind of see that where like a grandchild kind of when they're around their grandparents, there's that awe and like a connection. You don't see them all the time, but maybe, and I'm not saying this happened, but I think it could be true where a child sees their parent and they're just around it so much that kind of the intrigue with it might not be there, or might feel a little forced, like, oh, because my dad or my mom did this, now they kind of want me to do it. And it doesn't always work that way if it's not natural. So your grandson sees what you're doing and it piqued his interest enough to kind of learn it. I want to make sure, I'm going to go back to something we talked about earlier about that 9-year-old who or 15-year-old or whatever listening right now. Think about getting into this. We talked about the mindset it takes, but if you want to give them just a couple takeaways that you feel you wish a magician like yourself told you when you were 9, what would they be? Just so they can have like a kind of a path to get energized here. What would you tell
them? That's a good question. Just keep at it. If you fail, if your trick goes bad, just shrug it off. Don't get discouraged. Just keep focused, and maybe try to find a mentor. I didn't have a mentor, and that's why I never really got into the card tricks, because I just had a book. Videos weren't around, and
the book doesn't know how close you are to actually doing it. Either you do it or you don't do it. Where a mentor can be like, oh, just course correct a little bit. There. Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. And now you can get a virtual mentor even. Maybe that's another thing you could do. That's a great idea right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's
I'll take 10% royalties in that, just so you know. Would be wonderful. I know you have 2 more tricks that you'd like to deliver on. We're going to get to one after this next question, but my show, like we talked about, the mission is to inspire people to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. If you can deliver one message to our audience to do that, what would you tell them?
Don't give up. Our dreams are worth our effort, worth every bit of our effort, and it's all absolutely worth it. You don't want any regrets, like, why did I not do that? Why didn't I not pursue that? Why did I quit? It reminds me of the pelican with the frog in his mouth, and he's about ready to muzzle the frog, and the frog's reaching around and choking the penguin or the pelican, and says, never, ever, ever give
Yeah,
up.
that's a T-shirt design. I've seen that, right? Yeah, that is a cool thing. Never give up. That goes for anybody listening right now.
Anything.
It's the 3 feet from gold mentality. I feel like. I mean, there's definitely a time when you want to make sure what you're doing is the right thing, because you don't want to be pounding your head into the wall if it's not maybe what you're supposed to be connected to do. So I'd say get on purpose, and make sure once you're connected with that, then there is no give up. Like it's that or nothing. And when you have that attitude, make sure you're not turning away 3 feet from gold. Like, and the only way is if you keep chipping away. And I love that. And it's practicing your card tricks. It's your mentality. It's growing your reading books that inspire you. I mean, you were 9 and you were researching in libraries, looking how to learn tricks and learn more about the people who kind of created a magic industry. We talk about Houdini. Why don't we talk about him for let's do 30 seconds on Harry Houdini. I just think he's such a crazy guy. What's something about Houdini that just really share a little bit about him? If someone doesn't know too much about him, give us Harry Houdini in 30 seconds.
Amazing. He was like, I wish I would have lived back then. Just the escapes, the pain, what he went through to make sure he did what he did. He was cutting edge, escape, and he also was a film star. He was in several films, and a lot of people don't know that. Silent films, obviously, but I remember one scene where he's like, the bad guys, break in, tie him up upside down to a door. When the guy as he's walking away, he nails him with his feet and his chin, knocks him out. So the body of the guy who tied him up is at his feet or is on the floor, and he's tied upside down. He wiggles and pulls out with his teeth the guy's key, and was able to pull and escape the whole thing. It's just amazing. But that's his movie part. But people don't understand that part of it.
Right. Yeah, that is cool, and that was his big thing. His big claim was, just the escapism kind of thing, where I know he did things underwater and close to death. Is that actually how he died? I feel like I've watched movies about him before, and I'm not recalling it. Did he actually pass away doing magic?
He died from a ruptured appendix. Really sad. On Halloween.
But it had nothing to do. Was that like the gut punch or something?
Yeah, he said that he could withstand any punch by any person. Yeah. But you have to be ready for the punch.
I remember this now.
Smart out, because is that your claim? Like, boom, and it just ruptured. It's just saddest story.
Oh my God, killed
the great,
the great Houdini by just blindsiding him with that. Yep. Unbelievable. Here's the thing: we do have time for a couple more tricks, and then I have one final question for you. So why don't we sandwich the question between 2 of your favorite tricks? And guys, as he's getting ready over here again, check it out, DougRoyMagic.com. He's on YouTube. You can book him for your corporate events. And what do you have for us? You going to do the overhead shot?
Yeah, we'll do the overhead. I'm going to switch to a top view here. Hopefully you can see that okay.
And if you guys are listening to this right now, because I know a lot of podcast fans are audio only, I recommend go back and watch this on YouTube so you can actually see what Doug is up to over here. So we're looking at, there's 6 color cards.
Yeah, 6 color: green, orange, red, purple, yellow, and blue. Mm-hmm. And I have a little note here with a question mark, which very important personal information we'll reveal a little bit later. So Mike, give me a name of a first name only is fine, of a person that really had a big influence on your life. Because we can do some amazing things with just a little bit of information.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and share and first name.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick a particular route, and I'm gonna say I got someone in mind. You want me to tell you, or
tell the name? It doesn't matter.
Okay, John.
Okay. So, and I can tell a lot of information about someone with just a little bit of information. So let's go to this color strip here, and I'm gonna write a color on this card.
Okay.
It works. So I want you to choose a color that kind of pops out at you? Any of these colors here?
Okay, I got one.
Okay, which one? Where do you want me to stop?
Go yellow.
Right there. Yellow.
Okay.
Fair choice. You want to change your mind?
No, that's good. Unbelievable. So he flips the card over, guys, and now it says yellow written on the card next to the yellow. Unbelievable.
So let's do something a little different, a little more creative here. We have these a little strip of pictures, little icons. We have person reading, game, what's that? Controller.
Yeah.
Food. We'll go the adult topic here, and then art, and then music. So, might choose an activity. Let's see. I'm going to write one of these activities on this card here on the back.
Sure. I'm thinking of one. I got it.
Just think of one, but don't say anything. Okay.
All right.
And you've thought of one, right?
I did.
So would you say it's reading, and it could be stuff, a favorite pastime you've done more of during COVID. So it could be reading, it could be playing games, eating, sex, it could be artwork or music. Which of these activities would you like to choose?
I'm going to go with music.
Music.
Yeah.
You're a musician, right? Drummer?
Yeah.
Right there. Free choice?
Yep. Unbelievable, man. Now he flips it and it's music again. And I'm just saying it out loud for anyone listening that wants to know what's going on here. Wow.
So we have here this question mark from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
And I asked you as someone that made a difference in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this question mark has been on the screen the whole time. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Let's see what it says.
There it is. Any guesses on which John I'm talking about, since you mentioned drums and music and influence?
John, who's I don't know. You stumped me. Stumped the magician.
John Bonham, Led Zeppelin.
Oh, nice.
That's what I was thinking. Because if it wasn't for him, I don't know that I would have attacked the drums close to how I did. Just listening and being inspired and emulating. It's like when I was going up on stage, I could hear his drums in my head, and just that's what fueled me to just play the way I did. So
my son would have answered that question because he's a drummer. Actually, I think I mentioned that.
Yeah, famous Johns that are drummers and influential. I don't care what genre of music you play. If you're a drummer, his name comes to mind as a top drummer of all time. I know we're a little bit over. I would love to see this encore trick. Before you do it, can you just tell us, because I always like to end the show with a few things you're grateful for. Usually I say 3. I don't want you to miss your next meeting here, but what are you most grateful for? I think gratitude is such a great place to be in the morning and at night. And let's just take a time for you to share that with us.
Yeah, good question. My family.
Mm-hmm.
I have, wouldn't be here without a great supportive wife. She's been through my tricks, my practice sessions, my guinea pig, my kids, obviously. My God, I look up to him and I worship him and every single day, and that helps keep me going. Mm-hmm. And then I think the freedoms that we have, the ability to go out and here in our country to start a business, do magic. I'm grateful for that. Yeah, I'm grateful for that first show that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, heck, David Copperfield gives you a handshake as well. I mean, you had some moments that really could trigger you to feel like, hey, that all this is tying together. I love everything you said, family, God, obviously. And then I think the big one that we all need to, those two are huge, but just to think about, our freedoms that we do have in this country. And a lot of people think of all the negativity in our culture and stuff, but man, do we have it pretty darn good when you think about the fact that Doug and I got to wake up today and do what we wanted to do in our businesses. And if you're, you're not locked down and someone telling you what you have to do, then that's called freedom, and you get to choose what you want to do. And if you're at a job or doing something that you absolutely hate every day, maybe it's mundane and you don't feel on purpose, I would ask you to spend, just take a afternoon to just get free in your head and think about what you really want to do and what would light you up and what you feel the world is asking you to do to leave it better than you found it. And Doug, you're doing that through your magic. Let's see one more trick, and then I'm going to let you disappear.
Sure. I assume you have Instagram, Mike, on your phone?
I do, yeah.
You have your phone there?
I spent a little bit too much time on it, yeah.
Pull up my my profile, Doug Roy Magic, on Instagram.
Okay. Okay.
On my description there, you'll see a link tree link. It has different links to my website, my Google page. So click on that. Click on the Google Me Now. It takes you to my Google page. You'll see pictures of me performing different places. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to go to the top where my name is and hit the little X so it just gets rid of my name.
Okay.
In the search bar. And I want you to think of a place that means something to you, a very special place, anywhere in the world, Mike, that you've been to or that you dream of, someplace that brings a happy, probably, I guess, where you've been to. And I don't know where you were raised. I don't know where you've traveled. I can't tap into negative energy. So someplace special brings a happy moment. I want you to think of that place. Don't tell me what it is, but choose one in your mind.
Okay. And
then I want you to type in that search bar, that place, and hit search. So you actually see pictures of that place. Okay. And it brings back that happy moment wherever that place is, anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And, hit search so you see pictures.
Okay.
You see it? Okay. I want you to look in the camera. And I'm looking right at you through the camera. I gave you a choice of anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah.
I'm not getting international.
Okay.
I'm getting U.S. Mm-hmm. I'm getting not Eastern U.S. Good. I'm getting not Central. I'm getting Western U.S. I'm getting Southwest, Mike. I'm getting the state where I was raised. I'm getting California. Being more specific, it's Southern. It's a city I love. It's craziness. People, opportunities for doing street magic all over the place. Diversity. It is no other than Los Angeles, California.
Oh my gosh. Unbelievable. The city of angels, baby.
Love it.
I have an uncle in Sherman.
Dodger dogs.
And I love LA. I just love what comes out of their music, entertainment, just the good side. Another any place.
There's a lot of crazy stuff going on right now, but I love.
I was going to say Maui because I'd love to visit there again, but that's actually where my honeymoon was with my ex-wife. So you said no negative energy, so I figured maybe don't go Maui, go somewhere.
Love it.
Yeah. No idea how you did the 2-card tricks. I mean, I told you the card, and it was reversed in the deck. You pull one out of a zippered pouch, the exact card I mentioned. You get a name, color, and what was the third thing?
Activity.
Category. Written on the underside of a card that you wrote before I said it out loud.
Correct.
And the question mark was there the entire time. So that's impressive. It's not like you could have done that off camera. And then you guess any place in the entire entire world that I could have said, and you get it right down to Los Angeles. Doug, this was amazing. Not only an inspiring interview, but the magic was a lot of fun. You're a great guy. I'm happy to have you in my sphere of friends. And I'm sure either a birthday party for my daughter or
That's good.
I would definitely like to do that because she
That's,
shows interest in magic, and hopefully she doesn't try to tell you how you do all your tricks after all. I'll have to coach her up. Hey, don't tell Doug you know how he does his tricks because you don't. And let's not try to guess it and just enjoy
everyone has a theory. Everyone has a theory.
Everyone has a theory. All right. I know you got to run. Any last words you'd like to say before you head out?
No, this is great, Mike. I appreciate the time, and let's just all stay safe. Magic is everywhere. We simply need to keep our eyes open for it.
Life itself is magic is the quote that resonates with me today, man. This was great. Thank you so much. DougRoyMagic.com. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Hey guys, this is Mike, and I wanted to personally thank you for tuning in, for being part of my journey. Together we can make a positive impact in the world. A shout out to everyone who's been tuning in. I love reading your feedback and appreciate the reviews on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the messages that have been coming in on social media as well. I love you guys. Thank you so much for making this journey as much fun as it's been so far. I'm doing what I love, and it's awesome to hear that it's showing up in the podcast. If you haven't left a review yet, it's greatly appreciated if you do. And of course, if you share any content on social as well, I see it all and I appreciate you helping me spread the love. You can check out more show notes and information at mikeduppodcast.com, MIKED uppodcast.com, powered by Social Chameleon. You know what to do. Be great and be grateful.